I just bought this beautiful C6 Corvette, or at least what it used to be. This is my first time working on any Corvette, and I'm gonna attempt to rebuild this car in only 10 days.
If there's one car that gets the blood pumping of American enthusiasts, it's the Chevrolet Corvette.
And what a name too, Corvette.
What are we doing? We're in a Corvette.
When I was a kid, the Corvette wasn't just a dream car, it was the car I always wanted. When the C6 was introduced for the first time by GM in 2005, America finally stopped apologizing. In 2008, the Corvette C6 got the upgraded, more reliable LS3 engine with a 6.2-liter naturally aspirated V8 small block engine pushing 430 horsepower with no turbos, no superchargers, just pure displacement, massive airflow, and engineering done just right. But General Motors didn't really stop there. At the top of the line sat the Z06, a 7-liter LS7 with a lightweight chassis. It was brutal and completely unfiltered. And then finally they released the ZR1, the king of all Corvettes, a supercharged LS9, carbon fiber everywhere, nearly pushing 640 horsepower, completely street legal, and a top speed north of about 200 miles per hour. This wasn't an American car competing, this was America dominating. And then there was the Grand Sport, wide body, big brakes, dry sump oiling. And here's what most people don't realize. The Grand Sport actually shares the same LS3 drivetrain and performance DNA as a C6 base Corvette with a Z51 package. Same engine, same power, but the Grand Sport was wider and had more grip, inspired by the Z06. The C6 Corvette became every man's first love. And today, I finally get to build one. This car started its life as someone's weekend car in Alberta, and later it ended up in a bad driver-side collision. Here's the thing, you don't really see many Corvettes in the auction here in Canada, so I didn't want to miss this unique opportunity of a lifetime to rebuild it. I have a little experience of rebuilding cars if you're familiar with my channel, but I have never worked on a Corvette before. The good thing is the car runs and drives, and from the damage estimate, it seems the collision was mainly focused at the driver's side pillar. And here is the fun part. The major problem I have for this build is not the bodywork, not even the frame damage I think, but the biggest problem is that sourcing parts for this car is going to be a nightmare. You see, if I were to search for Corvette parts on carparts.com in the US, I get an abundance of parts that I can buy, and sometimes even with the same paint code. However, if I just change my location to the north of the border, I get absolutely nothing. And even if luckily I get something, the price is absolutely ridiculous. For example, the driver's side door shell would approximately cost me about $300 to $500 US if I were to buy it from a salvage yard in the US. But the same part would cost me over $1,000 US here in Canada. And I'm not even exaggerating. Nevertheless, this is going to be my best or the worst rebuild so far. And I have exactly 10 days to finish this rebuild, so let's get to work and find out how I can rebuild my dream Corvette. This is my 2008 C6 Corvette, and luckily it is equipped with the Z51 package. It has a Targa top, and the previous owner also put an air raid cold air intake. It has factory heads-up display, the 3LT nav screen, and it's also got the ZR1 rep wheels, which are 18 inches in the front and 19 in the back. This 2008 C6 being an 18-year-old car, this car has only 80,000 kilometers, which means I really got lucky. And on the plus side, as I mentioned, this car has the Z51 package, which adds massive performance upgrades such as the upgraded stiffer springs, dampers and larger sway bars, larger cross-drilled brake rotors, 6-speed paddle shift automatic transmission with the GU2 performance-oriented axle ratio, and finally extra cooling for power steering, engine oil and transmission. All of these factory performance upgrades brings the car to about 430 horsepower with a 424 foot-pound of torque. I found this car at the auction in Alberta, and I had to drive about 8 hours straight from Saskatchewan to pick it up. And once I reached the auction yard and picked the car, I had to drive back another 8 hours back from Alberta. On the way back, I also did some sightseeing during my pit stops, and people kept asking me details of this rebuild and if it was for sale anytime later. I noticed a large chunk of my repeat viewers haven't subscribed yet. If you're enjoying this video, please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribing to my channel really helps me out and it keeps me motivated to create more engaging content. And I try to read each and every comment, so if you guys have any feedback, do let me know and I'll be reading it. Please do make sure to subscribe and I really appreciate your support. I am finally back home now and it's time to roll up my sleeves and get to work. Huge shout out to my buddies at Autoholics for helping me out with all the towing work. Alright, it's time to fire the car up and check the engine health. And the battery is dead. I'll get a new battery on order, and meanwhile, let's check out the extent of damage on this car. Alright, so here is the extent of the damage. As you can see, the rear taillights are not there. I have it right here as a spare part, and I have it with me as a bunch of spare parts that were given here from the collision. So the rear quarter panel looks absolutely fine. The front fender is damaged from here. As you can see, the fiber is completely broken, and this is where the vent would have come. Along with that, I have received a lot of spare parts, so that saved me a bunch of money. Coming to the driver's side, as you can see, the driver's side door is completely smashed. On this end, the fiber is completely broken, so I need to go ahead and replace the door shell. I'm assuming that the impact took place in this end. As you can see, the windshield is completely broken on this end, which is what probably took the impact. And if you notice, there is no windshield washer reservoir because that's in the trunk. And as you can see, this support is also broken, which I hope can be easily repaired, because the whole thing is fine, and this is just fiberglass, so I hope the inspection center allows me to repair this. Otherwise, I will have to go ahead and replace this whole part, which is a very expensive part. Other than that, the wheel has taken some scratches, which is marked right here. On the good side of it, the engine bay is completely untouched. It's an LS3 engine, 6.2 liter automatic transmission, and mechanically the car is absolutely amazing. Luckily, the headlights were also not harmed, as well as the front bumper was not harmed. Coming to the electric side of it, the battery needs to be changed. It is completely drained. I jump started it and the car started at the auction yard, but this is completely drained right now, so I have to go ahead and change it. And as you can see, this side is completely fine. And something to note right now is, as you can see, this is called the driver's side rocker panel. Basically, the whole car is made up of fiberglass panels, including the door. The door is toast completely. As you can see, the whole thing is broken, and even the inside of the door shell is all fiberglass. And the bad part is the underside of the rocker panel is also completely broken. And this is basically a uni side, which means this whole piece right here until the portion where my finger is right now, this hole is one piece that comes as a fiberglass material, which is glued to the frame of the car with a strong polymer based glue. So option number one for me would be to repair this piece if I have existing pieces from before. And option number two would be basically to replace this whole rocker panel. So honestly, I am at the mercy of the pre-inspection, and if the inspection authority says I need to replace the whole rocker panel, I will have to go ahead and do that. And probably I'm also gonna go broke. So fingers crossed, let's hope for the best. The rear quarter panel is right there, which should be a bolt-on fix, and I hope there's nothing broken in there. The car is honestly in very bad condition, and it requires a lot of love. And all in all, I think I am really happy with the purchase of my dream car. Alright, I went ahead and put a new battery right here, and if you want to know the battery code, that's a Group 85 650 cca cold cranking amperage. So now it's time to go and test the startup of the car. The car fired up smoothly, and since it's a run and drive, I also checked all the fluids in the car, which means I can technically drive the car to the inspection center if I have a temporary plate. We have a provincial rule here that I cannot start repairing the car before I get an official inspection report. So I'm gonna first put all the parts back on the car before I get to any damage repair, so I can have the car look as a whole, drive to the inspection center, obtain my report, and then finally I can officially start stripping the car apart. Alright, the startup of the car was absolutely successful, and I love the sound of the car. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting the taillights in first so that I can have some brake lights. And after that, I'll go ahead and put the rear quarter panel. And the good thing about Corvettes is that most of the pieces of this car is literally bolt on. So I'm going to go ahead and take the rear quarter panel and put it up here, and it should bolt in right here from the back. I will probably need to access these from right here, which is probably why they had to open the rear taillights. So I'm going to go ahead and install the quarter panel first and then put the rear lights. So I'm going to open the rear trunk, and that is because once I open the trunk, I will get access to these points right here. So these are the points where the rear quarter panel should come and fit right in here. The good thing is that the auction company put everything relevant to the car inside the car, so that it makes it easier for me. For example, as you can see, it says rear bumper, and there are also other stuff like rear wheel liner, the fender, and so on and so forth, like the quarter panel. I'm gonna go ahead and start sorting these things out and figuring out which ones are the ones that I need, and then I will start installing the rear quarter panel. Alright, check this out. The rear end is looking good so far. Now it looks like a complete car. Alright, now it's time to install the front driver's side fender, and before I do that, I need to make sure that everything that has to go inside the fender is installed, such as the windshield washer reservoir, as well as the air intake pipe that probably goes on this end. So first I'm going to figure out how to install the windshield washer reservoir, and after that I'll plug it in, and once it's secure, then I'll proceed with the next steps. Alright, check this out. I had some time in my hands, so what I did is I just went ahead and reconstructed and put all the fiberglass pieces of the front fender just to see how it looks like, and this is what it looks like. I just did this for fun. I know I can't use this fender anymore. I have to order a brand new fender, but I just wanted to see how the car looks like, and the car is slowly coming in together really nice. Alright, so the final thing I need to do before I can take this car on the road is to make sure I install the fog lights. And after that, I can install the air duct that goes right here. And as you can see, the hole that goes through the fender inner liner, that's where this air duct should pass through. And this is basically the same as this one. This should pop right in. I just have to make sure all the plugs and everything is secured properly. So now I'm going to go ahead and start doing that. Alright, the car is now completely put together before the pre-inspection, so whatever I could put together and find the pieces, I did go ahead and put it back. I also went ahead and fixed the grille that was loosened up. So I also went ahead and put all the 4 screws that goes right here. So now the car is ready for a test drive, so I'm going to go ahead and take it around in my parking area. Just listen to the sound of pure, naturally aspirated V8 LS3 engine. I am really excited to build the car and restore it back to its former glory. As you can see, the car runs and drives great, and the transmission seems to be in its best condition. If you think about it, it's actually very interesting to know that this 2008 C6 actually shares the same drivetrain as the C6 Grand Sport, with the exception of the wide body fenders. Alright, I put the car back now how much ever was possible, and I also have my temporary plates done, so now I can head to the inspection center and see what kind of damage we are dealing with. The car drove really nice and it runs like butter, but the car is finally here at the inspection center. This is one of the inspection centers I contacted earlier, and I'm not even sure if they can inspect and work on a C6 Corvette. Because of the fiber body of the car, many inspection centers sometimes hesitate to inspect and certify these cars, but I'm already here, so let me try my luck. Alright, it's been a couple of days now and I decided to pull the car from the inspection center. Unfortunately, they gave me their verdict that they will not be able to inspect or estimate my car since there is a ding on the driver's side frame, and they require a work plan approved directly from GM to repair the chassis of this Corvette. In their own words, GM seems to be a bit reluctant to cater to a 19-year-old Corvette. So there is a 50-50 chance that this chassis might even get blacklisted to ever come back on the road if GM doesn't provide a work plan. The funny part is there was no mention of any kind of damage to the driver's side chassis on the auction website, and this is exactly the kind of risk you take when you bid on an auction car. My choices are limited here, but I'm gonna take a second opinion from another inspection center in the next episode. Let me know what you guys think should be done to bring this Corvette back to roadworthy. If you enjoyed watching this episode, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you will be the first to know when the next episode is out. I have just about 7 more days to complete this car, and I don't see a way forward for now. So with that disappointment, I'll see you on the next one.